Now to Chris Bowen. Has there ever been a more dangerous and incompetent energy minister? Is there any minister in this Albanese government with such a record of almost total failure? Almost every month, another one of Bowen's global warming schemes hits the wall, taking our money with it. And now, one of the most serious. Origin Energy has just said it is scrapping its plans for green hydrogen. That's a gas made by running lots of wind and solar power through water. It's quitting the planned green hydrogen hub that Bowen and Prime Minister Albanese had planned for the Hunter Valley, so that coal miners at least would have green jobs instead.
I see the Hunter as potentially a green hydrogen powerhouse for Australia and the world.
Bowen had even promised $70 million for this hub. It's part of the government's $2 billion hydrogen Head Start scheme. But now it looks dead. I mean, Origin's boss, Frank Calabria, reckons there's no money in this hydrogen. Bowen once, though, thought that green hydrogen was the gas that would save Australia as we got rid of coal-fired power stations, would give us a green energy future.
Our green hydrogen future is fundamental to that clean energy future.
Well, if it's fundamental to Bowen's plans, then those plans are toast. I mean, look around. Bowen also promised money this year for a green hydrogen hub in Tasmania.
Our government wants Australia to be a hydrogen superpower, a green hydrogen superpower.
But that one also looks cooked. Since then, Woodside Energy has joined Andrew Forrest Fortescue in walking out on that scheme down in Tasmania. No money in it for them. Another green hydrogen project in Whyalla. Well, the federal government is spending the first $200 million on this, greening the steelworks at Port Kembla and Whyalla. Well, that was also backed by Bowen. That looks now in huge trouble. As the steelworks there, the main customer, has had some closures recently, has had trouble paying its bills, putting the state government in a panic. What are we going to do if it shuts? So what green project backed by Bowen hasn't been in strife? I mean, it's just his rollout of wind and solar factories and transmissions lines, that's late or way over budget. His plan to get companies to build solar panels here, also in trouble. His target to get Australians to buy more electric cars, in huge problems as well. He's had to, in fact, drop his target of having electric cars make up 89% of the new cars sold by the end of this decade because they're just not selling. The plan was always nuts. Everything Bowen touches seems to turn to murder. I mean, he promised to cut your electricity bills by $275. As you know, they've actually exploded instead. He promised to run the new Kurri Kurri gas plant in New South Wales on green hydrogen. Plant operators told him, can't be done. It's almost funny. At the start of August, last August, Bowen said he'd give Ampol $100 million to build 200 new charging stations for electric cars by the end of the year. It took just 2 weeks for Ampol to come back to him and say, look, sorry, boss, it's technically impossible without a massive upgrade of our power system. And it goes on and on. Bowen even had a plan to spend nearly $2 million to help invent a new renewable fuel for aeroplanes, again, to cut emissions.
We know the opportunities are enormous for Australia and New Zealand to be key parts of the supply chain for sustainable aviation fuel across not just our region, but the world.
But on that very same day, Air New Zealand said it was actually dropping its emissions targets because the fuel would just cost too much. This is a spectacular record of failure. And you have to ask, how can someone so incompetent, so blinded by his green ideology, with a record of unadulterated failure virtually, be in charge of our power supply, destroying a coal-fired power system that works with dodgy schemes, green hydrogen, that simply are not working. Bowen has to be fired before he kills this economy.